My name is Bengt Johansson and I'm working as a business developer nowadays. I've been working on the network business for more than 30 years. I've been a part of the management team in the company Ellevio AB, which is a pure network company here in Sweden. We have approximately almost 1 million customers. And I've been in the management team for over 20 years. And the latest role in the management team was that I was responsible for the grid, the investment and the maintenance parts of the network and the development of it. And nowadays I'm working very much with new businesses, and I've also been part of the new flexibility market in Stockholm area where I was designing it together with Vattenfall and Svenska kraftnät. I'm a member of the EU DSO entity in the board. So that's a little brief history for my background. The Nordic system is very much have the basis in the hydropower. We also have, at least in Sweden, have a lot of nuclear power, and we have 13 power plants back in the days. It's gradually going down, so we now like 6,000-7,000 megawatts of installed power, while the wind power are increasing very dramatically. So you have more than 12,000 megawatts of installed wind power. Since this last 10 years, that has been growing very rapidly. And also the ambitions to be climate neutral is on the usage side is very much increasing, and especially the heavy industry, since we have a lot of steel plants, paper mills. All of them are more or less looking how to change their production sites to get more electricity and get rid of other fossil dependent fuels. There's a lot happening on both the production side as well on the consumption side. And of course the electrification of transport sector is also increasing quite rapidly. So very large share of the new cars sold are either charging some sort of charging hybrids or pure electrical cars. And also the transport, heavy buses, etc. are starting to emerge. Our electricity is around 140 terawatt hours, while we produce around 170 plus. So 25 mega terawatt hours is proxy what we export. I mean, what we can see is that the big industry, of course, there are more like points that we need to increase the capacity of the grid, especially then to be able to manage the new electrical demands. While electricity in the transport sector, it's much more spread out, so that has an impact also in the network all over more or less. But of course there will be fast charging poles, and there will be the small public charging sites, and then the home charging, since many people live in villas in Sweden. So that gives us new challenges in the network, because it might be congestion management that we need to do in much larger scale than today. But of course the major change is the increased volatility on the production side. Historically the production have been following the consumption, but we can see that in to a much larger extent the consumption need to follow the production. And you can see that also on the electrical prices in Sweden, that has been extremely high during the last month. Very, very big variations. Of course, there's a lot of impact from the energy prices in Central Europe, but also the fact that our natural grid have congestions, which means that even if we have a lot of production in northern Sweden, it's not always that we can get that production down to the south. The expectation in Sweden is that we're going from this around 140 to double it until 2045. On 20 years, they expect it to be doubled to over 300 terawatt hours. It's very much driven on the steel side and the hydrogen production to make the fossil-free steel. And that is very much looking into be installed in the northern part of Sweden. But then, of course, you also have battery factories that are now starts to. We have one big one in the middle part of Sweden, and another one will be built out south around Gothenburg for the car industry. And then, of course, the electrification of the transport sector will also increase the energy need. And we see that from everything from ships that have shore connection to the ships to being some hybrid ships, and also that smaller ships going for islands will go fully on electricity, and we see that the buses and heavy transport. So a lot of things happening there. Of course, we need new functionality to some extent, because at least on the Swedish solutions there, where we have a lot of possibility to steer the voltage levels and things like that on the regional grids or the grids down to like 10 kV, but on the local grid from 10 to 400 volts, we don't have any tap changer, for instance. And of course, with this type of more micro production, more variable usage of electricity, the volatility in voltage level will increase, so we need to have these type of things. But we also have a much faster change of the needs, which means that our asset management and our capability to build new network, adapt them, will have to speed up. And we also need to have support from new solutions, and that's also driven by the regulatory frameworks, since we as a network company needs to procure services for our efficient and safe network operation, like voltage or reactive power. Type of things is expected that we should procure. So of course we're going more from a static point of view on the network to the dynamic and operational part, and that of course puts demand on how to manage our assets, when to maintain, when to invest, and probably it might be shorter lifetime to some extent to some part of the network because of the rapid change. Basically the high heat and long period of much warmer weather than before, and it become dry in the forest, and by that getting the risk for fires that could impact the network, which has happened. And that was a very new experience that we had, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. But of course there are also much more rain coming at the same time, so flood, and so we have to see where our stations are put, if the network is at risk at some point. So that's part what we already consider, that there might be high levels of water, and so we avoid to have stations in low areas, or have to lift them up. And we can see that the weather are more extreme, but of course it's very difficult to show it in real facts. It's more a gut feeling today. Yeah. The larger companies are working with, because we have the congestion challenges. So we, in Ellevio, for instance, we built a tool for doing forecasting or the consumption based on historical meter values and temperature and days and so forth. So that we are having a artificial intelligence forecasting tool. But also that we put in new technology also in the network, and we have robotics for managing some administrative things, and we believe that we need to automate much more things in the network in order to manage the higher demands of reliability of supply, as well as the more things that the people in the control center have to manage. They need some support in decision making. So that is areas where we've been working, and we can see that the need for it will increase over time because of the volatility on the power system, and it will not be able that person can manage everything. They need to have support from the IT side. Generally, I can say that I mean, on the EU level, very much of the regulatory framework is, of course, trying to adapt to the new situation with the much more renewables, much more volatile power systems, They also try to separate what is the monopoly, what should be inside the monopoly, what should be outside. So that is quite clear from the EU directive. Well, at least, I mean, the last EU directive, the clean energy package that was coming into force 1st of January 2021 was very clear what is a network company entitled to do. But of course, there are some implementation in national legislation that is lagging behind. And here in Sweden, with the first part of it will be coming to force 1st of July this year. So it's more 1.5 years delayed. So that is one challenge, that the regulatory processes are sometimes too slow. And especially I can only comment the Swedish side so far, since my experience from the EU level is not that deep yet. We can see that they lack a bit of technical understanding in Sweden. It's very much of financial and legal understanding, but when it comes to the technical part, they are lagging behind and need to improve there in order to take and understand how to regulate the network business and other parts of the industry, of course. I think the challenge with that we have no one designing the future power system. Today the market is supposed, at least here in Sweden, to solve everything, which means that when you do market solution everything, that can manage up to some extent the challenges looking ahead of us. But I also believe that there need to be certain mechanisms that manage the robustness of the total power system. And so the question is very much when shall also there be mechanisms that are outside market solutions, and so that the borderline between market solutions and, so to say, regulated solutions, I think is a very important part to really ensure a robust power system in the future. So that you can have things in the toolbox for the network companies, for the TSOs, to manage these challenges. So because the market solution might be too slow sometimes to be able to manage with the critical situation when you leave the normal operation mode and go into some disturbance mode. So there I think it's important to find that where do the markets stop, so to say.